Hi, this is PR Frank, and today we're continuing our tutorial comparing writing HTML with a text editor and writing HTML with Dreamweaver. And now we're ready to try to publish what we have created. A website's no good unless you can get it on the internet. So the very first thing you need to think about is where you're going to put it on the internet. What we can do is we can do a domain name search, and there are plenty of websites to do that. So I'm going to search a domain. This is like the name of the website. So I have a website called prfrank.com. As you can see, it's taken. Also, somebody has bought .net and .org, but I can also buy .xyz, .us, .info, and there are various pricing structures for doing that, and a lot of different companies that will offer you a domain name, which you have to keep registered. And what that allows is for, if you type in prfrank.com, for example, it's going to point to that IP address on the internet. The other thing you need is a place to store all that, and that's called hosting. So if I do a similar search for domain name hosting, then there's plenty of websites that will allow you some hosting products and some hosting space for you. So lots of different levels of that. Or in this case today, I'm working with a college, and that college has some free space set up for students. So you could use an application, an FTP client such as FileZilla. It's a really popular one that will allow you to transfer your files from the local site to the remote site. So in FileZilla, if I go to this site manager, you'll see I've already set up a place called cisplace.sinclair.edu. So the main four boxes that you'll need to fill out are the host, which is where it's located, the logon type. In this case, it's normal. It's going to ask me for a username and password, my username, and then my password. I've already set that up in here, and if I click connect, you can see it takes some time to establish a connection up here in this top window, and then once it connects, it shows me on the remote site what's actually there. You can see I have a few files out there already. Well, in this case, what I'd like to do is I'd like to take this HTML version of my page and drag it over here. And as soon as it's done transferring all those files that we've been working on, you'll see now the HTML directory is there. If I double click on that, you can see what's inside. I've got my CSS folder, my images folder, and those 3 HTML files. So now if I go to the web and I type in the long URL for that, HTML is the directory where I put that under pr.frank. It'll look for the index page, and there it is, and I can click between the 3 pages I've created, and it's on the internet. So that is how we get our files to the internet without using Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver has a very slick way of doing it all in one. So of course, if we're in Dreamweaver, what I need to do in Dreamweaver is choose Manage Sites. And the Manage Sites dialog box gives me a place to set up my entire workspace. So it'll allow me to say where the files are on my local computer. It'll also allow me to say where they're going to go on the remote server. So let's just create a new site from scratch. And we'll call this site tutorial. That's been the name of the entire tutorial. And we tell it where the local site folder is. We just click on the little folder. Everything I need is in this DW folder. You can see my 3 files and my 2 folders. So what I'd like to do in this case is just make my main tutorial folder the main directory for this website. So I'm just going to click choose. I'm going to go to servers, add a new server, and I'm going to call it CISplace and fill in the rest of the information. I can test my site. That works. And if I wanted to, I could choose a root directory, but I'm just going to allow the main directory to be the root directory in this case. I click save and save again, and done. Now what you'll notice is I have all of the folders that I've been working on here, my Dreamweaver version and my HTML version here in my folder, in my local files. I can also switch over to remote server and see what's there. And as you can see, it's got some other folders that I've already placed out there. In a few moments, we'll upload our Dreamweaver version here, and you'll see Dreamweaver in the remote server view. Let me switch back to local view, and I'm going to click on the Dreamweaver folder. Inside that folder are all the files and folders that we've been working on, and at the top there's a little put button, which is an up arrow to say, hey, you know what, I want to put those files out there. So I click on that. It takes some time to upload. And if there are any dependent files, yes, of course, I want them to publish as well. Once those are published, we can go to the remote server, and we can see now that our DW folder is out there with all the files and folders inside. So that allows me to then go to my web browser, and instead of looking in my HTML directory, I'm going to look in the DW directory, and we see all the same things. We can click between these 3 pages, and all of the work that we've done in Dreamweaver is out there. So that's the basics of getting your stuff on the web. I hope you've enjoyed this series of tutorials, and look for future tutorials on web design. There's much more to learn. Thank you.